Nkechi nodded, looking pained. I know. I've heard the warnings too, but I was too desperate to listen. The man at the crematorium assured me that everything would be fine, and I believed him. Obi's expression softened. Nkechi, you need to stop these rituals before it's too late. The risks are too high, and it's not worth endangering yourself or others. Nkechi looked conflicted. I understand what you're saying, but I don't know how to stop now. The ritual is already in motion, and I've invested so much into it. Chuka placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. We'll help you. We need to go back to the crematorium and find a way to stop the ceremonies. We can't let this continue. Nkechi nodded gratefully. Thank you, I appreciate your help. I've been so lost in my desperation that I didn't know who to turn to. They made a plan to return to the crematorium that night. Their goal was to stop the ongoing ritual and ensure that no more dangerous ceremonies took place. As night fell, Obi, Chuka, and Nkechi approached the crematorium. They could see the faint glow of lanterns through the windows, indicating that another ceremony might be starting. They carefully entered the building, trying to avoid being seen. They crept through the corridors to the room where the ceremonies were held. As they reached the door, they could hear the faint chanting and see the robed figures preparing for the ritual. Obi peered through a crack in the door, and saw that the ceremonial table was set up with the glowing mixture and the imo-aji objects. Nkechi's heart raced as she realized she was about to confront the people who had led her into this dangerous situation. We need to act quickly, Obi whispered. We'll go in and try to stop them. Nkechi took a deep breath and nodded. Let's do it. They pushed open the door and stepped into the room. The robed figures looked up in surprise, and the chanting stopped abruptly. What is the meaning of this? The leader of the figures demanded. We're here to stop this ritual, Obi said firmly. It's too dangerous and must be ended now. The leader's eyes narrowed. You have no right to interfere with our practices. Leave now or face the consequences. Nkechi stepped forward, her voice trembling but resolute. I'm the one who brought these rituals here, and I'm asking you to stop. I realize now that this was a mistake, and I want to end it. The leader looked at her, his expression hardening. It's not so simple. The ritual is already in progress, and stopping it will not be easy. As the tension in the room grew, Obi and Chuka prepared themselves for whatever might come next. The confrontation at the crematorium was about to reach a critical point, and they needed to find a way to stop the dangerous practices before it was too late. The room was filled with tension as Obi, Chuka, and Nkechi faced the robed figures. The leader of the figures stepped forward, his eyes locked onto Nkechi with a mixture of anger and disappointment. You cannot simply walk in here and demand that we stop, the leader said, his voice echoing with authority. The ritual is crucial and cannot be interrupted. Nkechi stood her ground. I understand that now. I've made a terrible mistake and I'm asking for your help to stop it before it causes more harm. The leader hesitated, then glanced at the other robed figures, who murmured among themselves. Finally, he spoke again. Very well. If you truly wish to stop this ritual, you must make an offering of your own, something of great personal value. Nkechi looked at him bewildered. An offering? But what could I give? The leader nodded towards a small, ornate box on the ceremonial table. Place something of your own into this box. It must be something that holds deep meaning for you. Nkechi looked at Obi and Chuka, who nodded encouragingly. She took a deep breath and opened her handbag, pulling out a locket that had belonged to her late mother. It was the most precious thing she owned. With trembling hands, she placed the locket into the box. The leader took the box and examined the locket. After a moment, he nodded. This will suffice. We will now attempt to end the ritual." He and the other robed figures began to chant again, their voices weaving together in a complex pattern. The glowing mixture on the ceremonial table simmered and the air around them seemed to shimmer with energy. Obi and Chuka watched anxiously as the leader and his followers worked to dismantle the ritual's setup. They could feel the atmosphere in the room shifting, and the intense energy began to wane. As the chanting reached a crescendo, the glowing mixture began to dim, and the room's temperature slowly returned to normal. The robed figures completed their final incantations, and the leader turned to Nkechi with a tired expression. "The ritual has been halted," he said. "But the effects of the Imoaji cannot be easily reversed. You must be prepared for possible consequences." Nkechi nodded, tears streaming down her face. "Thank you. I'm so sorry for what I've done." Obi and Chuka offered her reassuring smiles. "We need to make sure that nothing like this happens again," Obi said. "We should inform Chief Okechukwu and the village council about what we've discovered." The leader of the robed figures nodded. "I agree. The secrecy surrounding these rituals can be dangerous, and it is important that the community is aware of the risks." As they left the crematorium, the night air felt cooler and less oppressive. Nkechi walked beside them, her expression one of relief mixed with worry. She knew that while the immediate danger had been addressed, the consequences of her actions were still unknown. The following morning, Obi, Chuka, and Nkechi visited Chief Okechukwu. They recounted everything that had happened and presented the items they had collected from the crematorium, including the Imoaji objects. Chief Okechukwu listened carefully, his expression growing more concerned as they spoke. "This is troubling news," he said. "The village council needs to be informed about these practices, and the potential dangers they pose." Obi and Chuka nodded. "We'll work with you to ensure that the village is protected and that such rituals are not practiced in secret." Nkechi looked determined. "I want to make things right. I'll help in any way I can to prevent this from happening again." As they worked with Chief Okechukwu to address the situation, Obi, Chuka, and Nkechi knew that their journey was far from over. They had uncovered a dangerous secret, but there were still questions to be answered and challenges to overcome. The village was about to face a period of change, and their efforts to protect it from hidden threats were just beginning. The mystery of the fat seller was unraveling, but the road to resolution was still long and uncertain. With the revelations from the crematorium and the dangerous rituals halted, the village of Umudike began to recover from the shock. Chief Okechukwu and the village council took swift action, ensuring that the secrets of the crematorium were shared with the community. The village held a meeting to discuss the findings and to establish new guidelines to prevent such dangerous practices in the future. Nkechi, with Obi and Chuka's support, spoke to the villagers, expressing her deep regret and commitment to making amends. "I have learned a hard lesson," she said. "I was desperate and made poor choices. I am truly sorry for the trouble I caused, and for putting everyone at risk." The villagers listened with compassion. Many were understanding, recognizing that Nkechi's actions stemmed from a place of deep struggle and desperation. Chief Okechukwu addressed the crowd. "We must remember that while it is natural to seek solutions to our problems, we should always choose paths that do not harm ourselves or others. There is wisdom in seeking help and guidance from those who understand our traditions and values." Obi and Chuka were thanked by the village for their bravery and perseverance. They had helped uncover a hidden danger and had played a crucial role in protecting their community. The following days were filled with rebuilding and healing. The village focused on supporting one another, and Nkechi dedicated herself to helping others in need. She started a small community program to provide assistance to those struggling with poverty, hoping to prevent future desperation that might lead to dangerous choices. One evening, as the sun set over Umudike, Obi, Chuka, and Nkechi stood together, reflecting on their journey. The village was peaceful once more, and the shadow of the crematorium's secrets had been lifted. "The story has taught us a lot," Obi said, looking at his friends. "We've seen the importance of facing challenges with integrity and seeking help when we need it." Chuka nodded. "And we've learned that even in the darkest times, there is always a chance for redemption and positive change." Nkechi added, "It's important to remember that desperation can lead us to make poor choices. But with support, guidance, and a willingness to make amends, we can find a better path forward." As the stars began to twinkle in the night sky, they knew that their village was stronger and wiser for having faced the danger together.